Why don't we go to executive session now and talk about her?
Okay. Meeting's called to order. Okay, for those who want to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, let's do so now, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Terry, roll call, please.
Mrs. Edmeades. Here. Mrs. Fish.
Here.
Dr. Gatachu.
Here.
Mrs. Gordon.
Here.
Mr. Gordon.
Here.
Dr. Gursky.
Here.
Mr. Kirsch.
Here.
Mr. Reichert.
Here.
Mr. Huron.
Here. Thank you. Okay. Prior to this meeting, we had, hello? Okay. We did have an executive session tonight from 6 o'clock to just at 7 o'clock sharp. Matters we discussed at said session were items pertaining to personal agendas with transportation, with some discussion specifically on personal matters with the athletics, and also consultation with legal matters with our solicitor who was present at said meeting. Personnel matters. What did I say? Personal matters? I meant personnel matters. Excuse me. Thank you. Okay, next order of business tonight is our meeting minutes from prior meeting. Do I have a motion to approve meeting minutes from October 26, 2021?
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Mrs. Fish. Thank you, whoever snuck in at second.
Boys?
Wait, oh, sorry. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, no? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next order of business tonight is our report. So we'll start with the CSIU and Dr. Katachu.
We didn't have any meeting since last meeting we had. So next one is next Wednesday. The first time it's going to be in person since the start of the pandemic.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kirsch, Finance Committee, please.
Oh yeah, we had a meeting tonight from 4:30 to 5:30. Talked about a myriad of things, but athletic extended season stipends are 2020 earned income statement from, is that right, Bobby?
The calendar year, they run off of calendar year, so.
So
yes.
our earned income are from our statement from the Danville Area Earned Income Tax Office. Application of ESSER funds, which I believe are due. That's not due. Never mind. Wrong line. Talked about our AFR, which is our annual financial report. Is that correct?
Yes.
That you completed on 10/26/27. The 2021 to 2022 office goals for the business office, and the budget process, which is wrapping up at this point. They're due this Friday or the building and department budgets are due this Friday. That's about it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kirsch.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to thank Mrs. Fish, Mr. Kirsch, and Dr. Gatachu for being on my finance committee. You guys are all incredible assets, and I know to sit through and listen to my financial information can be very boring and long and drawn out, but I want to thank you guys for all your input and hard work. I know Mrs. Fish and Mr. Kirsch is going to go off my finance committee, and hopefully Dr. Gatachu stays on my finance committee, but I wanted to thank everyone for their hard work. You guys are assets to the district.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you,
It was
Bob.
awesome. Thank you, guys.
You're also a big asset to the district.
Thank you for that. Athletic Committee, Mr. Gordon, please.
Yes, the high school gym resurfacing is complete. That was properly cured by Sunday, so our student athletes and high school students have been using the gym floor. Cross-country updates, girls were District 4 champs and took 4th overall at the state meet. Boys were District 4 runner-up and took 12th overall at the state meet. Our top-seeded football team hosts Loyal Sock in the AAA District semifinal Friday night at 7 o'clock. An email was sent out with a link to purchase tickets. Season ticket holders must still purchase an admission ticket for the game, but their regular season seats are still reserved. Season ticket holders are to use the same seats as they did in the regular season. Our boys soccer team is playing tonight at North Pocono in the PIAA state tournament after winning the district championship last week over Selinsgrove in overtime. Currently, they are down 2-0 at halftime. Registration is currently open in Family ID for all winter 2021-22 sports. The first official PIAA winter practice date is Friday, November 19th. And our Central Susquehanna Hammers mountain bike team had an amazing season and will be recognized at the next board meeting. That is all, sir.
Awesome. Thank you.
Got it.
Curriculum Committee, Dr. Katachu.
In the curriculum committee, we continue to work with the high school staff on planning for career pathways. We will be providing a parent session expanding on the pathways model, including discussion of sample scheduling for parents to see and discuss with guidance and administration on Wednesday, December 1st at 6 p.m. The district continues to focus on social emotional learning at all levels. This includes exploring various programs through our pilot programs to determine our direction for the future to ensure this is a direct focus in our classrooms. As we move into the 22-23 budget process, the district will be focusing not only on SEL but also on ELA in grades 3 to 5 and ELA in grade 10. We have already invested in grades 6 to 9 last year as major priorities. Dr. Boyer shared a survey that will assist in our planning for the ARP ESSER fund that's 7% set aside. Please consider filling out in the next few days. The deadline is, I think, November 18. And the district data presentation on October 26th is available to the public. And please contact Dr. Bickhardt if you have any questions or are interested in discussing this further. Finally, the district does have approximately 30 department leads that work in all curriculum areas. These leads are setting goals for the next 3 years with a direct focus on K-12 curriculum alignment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Katachu. I do want to just take a quick moment, and it was reflected a moment ago. The amount of work that goes on to be part of this board is amazing because there's a lot that's visible, some that's not, and the commitment and time commitments that this group has put into our school district is commendable. I know there's a lot of time, there's a lot of hard work, and it goes without saying sometimes, but I do want to recognize that I thank everybody for their commitment to this district and the unity we show, even when sometimes we don't see eye to eye on everything, we still figure out how to do what's right for the kids, and I commend everybody for your hard work on all that, so thank you. School board election results, I guess this week they're going to be, I call it ratified and officially ratified. We have 5 new members taking seats on the board come December. One of them is Dr. Katachu that's being reelected, and then we have 4 new folks joining us come here in December. Okay, we'll move on to, okay. And just a matter of record, the 2 folks that are going to be part of the school board effective in December is Richard Wagnetz and Johannes Katachu for the 4-year seats, and then John Kroll, Sherry Cooper, and Michael Klauser will be filling in the 2-year seats. Okay, let's move on to superintendent's report. Dr. Boyle, please.
Okay, as always, the enrollment, we are down about 4 students from last month. We have 2,250, or 2,256 students that are attending in the district, and school-age children are 2,834. So there's several students that go to private schools or other situations. Head Start has increased by 2 students. We're happy to see that, and we're, still working on enrollment. So if you know Head Start eligible students, have them contact Mrs. Marshall at the Head Start offices in the primary building. Even if the parents aren't sure, they should be calling so that they can find out just, what the guidelines and responsibilities are. The primary building has 506, the Liberty Valley 519, DMS 505, high school with a few more because there's 4 grade levels there, and Columbia Montour now has 127 students, so that's an addition of 2 students from last month. And you can see the outside cybers have stayed consistent. Our own personal cyber school, the ICA or Ironman Cyber Academy, has 95 students total, 63 which are high school students, and then we have 17 at the middle school, 12 at the primary, and only 3 at Liberty Valley. So those numbers have remained fairly consistent as well. Most of what I have on here has to do with the teams and the sporting events. Thank you, Mr. Gordon, for letting everyone know about that. The one other piece is the fact that our Planet group is continually working throughout the district to pick up recycling in the high school, at sporting events, in the administrative offices, and they also have what they call an Adopt a Highway. So they have a certain highway that they actually work on, and that's a picture of them with their red vests so that they're working. Actually, they came to school the day that was virtual to do this, when the other students were taking the PSATs, I believe it was. And, they committed their time on that day when there was no school, no in-person school, but was virtual, so they had to use their own time on that. The other thing I want to note is recognize 2 of our athletes. Boys cross country, Roy Lieberman was an individual finisher at state and 5th place, and Victoria Bartholomew was a finisher at 14th place in the state. So we're very proud of those particular athletes. At the middle school, they have been busy. They had a fall festival where the students, if you see the pictures where Mr. Snover, Miss Mack, and Miss Knoll are listed, those are garbage bags, and their heads sticking out with goggles on, because the students got to throw Ready Whip cream pies at them. And they really enjoyed this activity. They also, I want to note that Art Club and Spanish Club participated in the trunk or treat at the primary building. They, they had their car decorated and they showed up, so that was a real positive. Some of the other things that are going on are the events for Fall Festival, and they raised approximately $200 for the Stop Out Bullying organization. The dates there: Veterans Day, of course, on the 11th. We will be having our PASS survey on the 11th. Parents can opt out of that if they choose not to have their child participate. The PAYS survey is for only grades 6 and 8, and it'll also be happening at the high school for, I believe, Mr. Vahalik, grade 11? 10th and 12th, okay, thanks. And the VOTEC is going to be presenting a video presentation to the students so they can be looking at whether or not they want to go to VOTEC next year. Liberty Valley, they're having their fall festival on the 12th and their PASS survey on the 17th. We've got one of the rock stars from the Rock Your School Day there standing, and the other picture is Miss Andrea Lau's class, who she obtained some pumpkins, some small pumpkins from Cole's Tree Farm. We thank them for their donation. And what they did is they took their pumpkins and they painted them as to the character from a book they were reading. So they each got to pick out from what the books they're reading, a character that they wanted to represent and paint their pumpkins. They were very proud of that. Most importantly, I want to congratulate Mrs. Andrea Bainey as one of the finalists for the Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year for 2022. The ceremonies are going to be held at Hershey Lodge, and the finalist and the state will be named December 6th. So I offer best wishes to Mrs. Bainey. The big thing this past couple of weeks for the primary building was a community trunk or treat. Of course, that building's always busy, but the event, there were hundreds, literally hundreds of trick-or-treaters and over 50 trunks that were available. So we thank everyone that was involved in creating this and participating in the event. Okay, district-wide, there's your dates. The 24th is a professional development day, so there is no school for students. We then move forward with a Thanksgiving break from the 25th to the 29th, and offices will be closed on the 24th as well. We also have been promoting the parent portal, so if there's any parents out there who have not signed up, please contact your building. There is a kiosk in every building for parent access so they can get help in getting enrolled in the parent portal. In the future, we will be sending home report cards through the portal and not in paper format in general. So the other items are there. We're still working on the survey for Wake Up and Learn. I also want to thank...
Dr. Boyle, can I just ask, for parents who would like to still get printed, do they have a way to opt in? I mean, I know we're moving away from that, but do you have situations where people would like that?
If there's situations where parents don't have a printer, they can contact their office, yes. Thank you to the home and school organizations at all the schools for supporting our teachers and students. They were providing meals and goodies and all kinds of things during teacher-parent conferences. And honestly, every day I think they provide some sort of benefit for our buildings. The other thank you I want to give is for the Columbia Montour Chamber of Commerce Foundation for providing a donation of masks, safety glasses, hand sanitizer, and goggles. I got 100 goggles today that can be used in the science labs. So, and more glasses, and actually I got some safety bifocals for the teachers. So that was very generous of them as well. Last is the COVID update. The numbers look a little small, I'm sorry. But generally in the past 2 weeks, there have been 4 students and 2 staff who have been identified as positive for COVID. So our numbers are remaining in a very reasonable pace, and we're very proud of all the efforts that are being made to keep the buildings and the students safe.
Thank you, Dr. Boyle. All right, so the next order of business is our first of 2 public comment periods. This first one is for agenda items only, with the second one at the back end of the meeting for general public comments. With that said, is there anybody tonight that would like to make a public comment in our first public comment period? Okay, no hands, so we'll move on. Next order of business tonight is our Ironman Esports. And Mr. Jeff Ryan, you have the floor, sir.
I got to do dual here, so it's okay. I'm going to go back here in the back and kind of control. I got it.
You have music?
No music. First of all, I want to, this is a long time in the coming. And I think going back about 3 years ago, we discussed it at an admin meeting. And, we kind of chuckled about it. And I said, it's coming and it's continuing to grow. And, Mr. Johns can contest that, through the years we went back and forth. There's been a lot of information and passed around about esports. And, first and foremost, I want to thank, first Dr. Boyle, because this is the farthest that it's ever come to get to this point. And, her vision to see it through. And also I want to thank the CSIU, because they've already, started to get involved. And Dr. Gursky, as well. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and move forward. So the first thing that I want to do is I apologize for not having this slide originally in, but I wanted to kind of define it. What is esports? Esports describes the world of competitive organized video gaming. And the key words in that I want to stress is competitive and organized, because a lot of people, visualize video gaming in a different light, and this is much different. Esports mimics traditional sports in its competitive nature, and with its focus on teamwork and strategy, and it is very competitive, and it's growing and growing and growing. So I just wanted to define it first. Secondly, why esports? And I have a little logo there that I came up with. And basically, if done effectively, esports can help enhance academic, social, and career-related progress. Newfound relationships can lead to an increased sense of belonging, which helps students to achieve a greater social emotional balance. And really, when you look at esports, a lot of people have different interpretations of it, but it mimics traditional sports in that, it gives, these students who oftentimes don't have the ability to compete in organized sports, and gives them that same structure and allows them to compete, work together, all the critical things that you get out of a traditional sports model, but it allows it for, a different group of kids. And it's, in essence, it's good for kids. So I put this slide up. It shows the esports growth. Basically, in the bottom right, you see worldwide viewers since 2012. It's projected that 297 million worldwide frequent viewers are projected by 2022. And then above that is 84 million US viewers projected in 2021, with only the NFL being higher in viewers. High school esports growing rapidly in PA. On the top left, I have the National Association of, I'm trying to remember the acronym, but it's Scholastic Esports Foundation. And you can see in the area, all the esports teams just in that one foundation. Now there's multiple others as well that exist, but this just shows you right now how many esports are in this area. And you can see in the metropolitan areas in the cities, you have a greater concentration. You see 8 down in Harrisburg, and then you see 2 up in Scranton, 5 in Bethlehem. So there is a presence of esports in our general area, but you can look right in the middle in our area and there's nothing. And I just don't think it has caught on at this point. And so that's why we want to try to start it here at Danville. 175 colleges have officially recognized esports teams. They're actual sports teams within the universities themselves. And video game 2020 estimated revenue was $37 billion US. So the industry itself is phenomenally huge at this point, and it's growing. I would imagine this year and beyond, it's going to be pushing over 50 billion.
Hey, Jeff, if I can just real quick.
Yeah.
Is this evolved to where college scholarships?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay.
Yes, there are limited college scholarships. Yeah. And a lot of universities now are putting in like complexes and everything for esports. So, the big thing that everyone wants to hear, because the big what should I say, misinterpretation out there is that it costs a whole lot of money to start esports. And what we're looking to do is start a little pilot program, start really general and small with Rocket League, which is a 3-player video game, and it doesn't have much requirements. And it can, the students themselves can use their consoles at home, and we can use older equipment that we have laying around for the kids that don't have any equipment. So the actual cost breakdown would be controllers for the loaner machines, and I'll show the numbers later of the amount of kids that don't have something at home, but controllers for them, a communications, we have to have a communication server that we manage, and it's not, the cost isn't that much, but we have to control it because we want to monitor what's going on. We want this to be a real controlled environment. And then jerseys for the tournament team. So what we're looking to do is start with a pilot program that's basically intramural, where our kids will play each other, and then the best of that group will then go and participate in some tournaments. And then the coaches, at this point, I'm willing to volunteer as a coach position, but we would want to get some assistance depending on the amount of kids that we have, just for management purposes. But, I think it's kind of makes sense for me because of the technical aspects of it to be involved pretty heavily in the beginning parts of this esports program. So there's kind of a look at what an esports jersey would look like.
Please understand that Mr. Ryan designed that shirt and that logo. Nice
Yeah.
job, Mr.
Yep. And the esports survey. So we sent a survey out to kind of gauge interest into esports. So we sent it out to the entire high school. And we had 125 total responses. And out of those responses, we had 33 yeses and 49 maybes that would be interested in an esports program. And out of these 82 students, only 5 did not have a system. So that it would be very minimal for what we would have to provide. 68 possibly looking at esports in college. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, 6.43 was the average familiarity with esports, which means most of them already watch it. Any of you that have kids, you've probably have seen them watching Twitch and other live streams of kids playing video games. It's kind of hard for us to understand, but it's very, very popular. And there's some people that make tremendous amounts of money just doing that. As far as, another part of this is, familiarity with the industry and the jobs that are sprouting from video games and esports. It's like I said, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and there's tons, like, from writing to music scores to graphic design to announcing. There's just a tremendous amount of jobs that are coming through esports and video games, and that's another thing that kind of comes along with an esports program.
Is esports only high school level students, or is it middle school also?
It primarily, most of the ones are in high school at this point, but it is branching out to the middle school level as well. And one of the things that we're doing, since this is a pilot program, and I've had some younger middle schoolers actually apply to the survey. I don't know how they got the link, probably from their brothers and sisters. Have also, and because it's an intramural, and most of it's going to be practice, they won't be allowed to represent the teams in the tournaments, but I'd like to see them also be able to participate in some of the practice stuff as well. Oh, So basically, the first year through this pilot program, what are the goals? Start a structured club program featuring Rocket League. And what Rocket League is, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but it's soccer with cars. And basically, it's three on three, head-to-head competition with goals, and you push the soccer ball around the field with the cars, and it takes a lot of understanding of how to drive them and use the brakes and use the booster, and then compete against each other, and then whoever has the most goals at a certain defined period of time wins. So we're going to look at starting a structured club, and the key part, I said, is organized and competitive. I know I said that in the beginning, and structured is another word, because one thing that I want this to be is the same type of experience that they would experience in a sports. This is not going to be a free-for-all. It's going to be something that teaches them how to work as a team, with defined goals and a defined structure. So that is a big part of it. Create teams and play a coach intramural season with playoffs. So we would basically, set up teams and then set up a schedule, and then at the end we would have playoffs. And like I said, the higher skilled players we would hopefully be able to get into a tournament representing Danville to face other schools. And then beyond, you can get in paid leagues and stuff, but right now we're trying to keep it as simple as possible. So the third is take our top teams to a few high school tournaments to represent the Danville Area School District, and that would be the third part. I know I've heard from some students there's a lot of excitement, and they want to go to some bigger games with more players and stuff like that, and more requirements, but I think it's best for us. I'm a big believer in starting focused and slow to make it as effective as possible. It's the way we do our technology within a district. We put it out and into the district, see if it works before we go full in. So I think the fact that it's a pilot is very important. And then the next steps, if we decide to move forward, would be to advertise and fill some assistant advisor positions, and that will all kind of depend on the amount of kids. We still got to sort out who really wants, because what they say in a survey, and once we sit down and talk to them and explain what's really involved, we may not have as many numbers, as a larger number as we have. So, I can't imagine any more than one or two assistants, but we would have to advertise and fill those positions. We would, of course, meet with the students who showed interest in the survey and determine, who exactly wants to really go forward with this. And then from there, we would organize for a spring pilot season. And that's basically, the three steps. And of course, there's a lot in between to organize everything and make sure, that we have the structure, the games follow a certain format, everything's monitored, and we try to keep statistics and things so we can gauge, who the better players are, and then go ahead and start doing it in the spring. So that's basically what the next steps are. And then finally, we've already had some questions, but does anyone else have any other questions?
I have a question. Thank you, Jeff. It's a nice presentation.
Yep.
As a parent, how do I know more about this? Because you mentioned it's not just games, but you had some other activities that you got engaged in. And I would have a ton of questions about this, including the time invested in this. So where do I get this information? Where do a parent get this information?
If we move farther, and that's another important part that I should have put up there, is we move forward with this, we will have to provide parents with more information, kind of laying out the structure and how it is. Because, there are probably some misinterpretations of what it means, because traditionally we all believe video games as the shooters and the, the violence and all that. And it's not anything of that nature. We're not going in anything in that direction. So, I would provide information for parents once, I gauge the amount of kids. I would have information sent home to allow the parents to see exactly what's involved with the whole process.
And you say there's a link that the high school students can sign into, or is that how they get into this? Or
Well, they were given a survey, and I have all of the students that are involved names that showed interest. And then if we decide to move forward, the next step would be to contact them and set up a meeting with them and potentially parents to discuss, what's all involved, because, I want everyone to know up front exactly what's entailed in this before we start, of course.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I just add something, Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
First, I just want to say there's not many central office administrators in the districts across our region or the state who volunteer their time to do something that's really impactful for children. And so I want to say thank you for taking your personal time and investing in this and investing in the kids in something that's new and something that has potential to bring kids an additional socialization opportunity and an opportunity for career exploration, whether it's in graphics or design or other components, and to really open doors potentially for scholarships for these children if they're going to take interest in this in college. I think you mentioned 68 children may have interest in pursuing this in college. If one of them would get a scholarship out of this program, the fact that you're donating your time to do that is super. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Oh, it's no problem whatsoever. It's, to me, I think it's one of those things that it's just easy because I think, you get some opportunities now and then to make a difference and you see the potential in something. And so it was a very easy thing for me to do, but I appreciate it. Any other questions, comments?
Nope.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Item 6.1 are consent agenda items. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda items 8.1, 12.1 through 12.4, and 13.1 through 13.6?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Kirsch. Do I have
I'll
a second?
second.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Call, please.
Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Katachu,
Yes,
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert, Mr. Huron.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, school property and supplies. The board will take action to approve the sale of the 2000 GMC minibus through Municipid in the amount of $5,577 as presented. Do I have a motion to approve 7.1? Thank you,
I
Mr. Reichert.
second.
Thank you, Dr. Gatachu.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Katachu,
yes,
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert, Mr. Huron.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
okay. Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes? Thank you. Okay, item 8.2, the organization of Jeff's just recently presented esports club. The board will take action to approve piloting a high school esports intramural club at the Danville High School. Do I have a motion to approve item 7 point? Lost my page. 8.2, excuse me.
I make a motion. I'll
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you.
Dr. Katachu,
yes,
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert, Mrs. Edmeades, Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.3, the 2021 through 2022 Winter Assistant Coaches List. The board will take action to approve the 2021 through 2022 Winter Assistant Coaching List as presented. Do I have a motion to approve item 8.3?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Kirsch. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Dr. Katachu.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Katachu,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, nothing on curriculum management reports. Next is finance. Just a matter of record, correct? Anything to share tonight, Bobby, or? Okay. Okay. Item 11.2. Nope. Excuse me. Wait a second.
11-3, buddy.
So 11.3, bills for payment. The board will take action to approve the bills for payment for October 9th, 2021 through November 4th, 2021 as presented. I have a motion to approve item 11.3.
I
Thank you.
second.
And thank you.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Abstain.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Abstain.
Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Katachu,
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Item 11.4, the board will take action to approve the budget revision for Danville Head Start for the project period 9/1/2021 through 8/31/2022. Grant number for the record is 03CH011219 as presented. Do I have a motion to approve item 11.4? Thank you, Mr. Reichert. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Hirsch.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Katachu,
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, we bounce over to item 13.7, Head Start Family and Health Service Consultant Agreement. The board will take action to approve the Family and Health Service Consultant Agreement between Danville Head Start and Carol Budd, effective November 10th, 2021 through August 31st, 2022, and an hourly rate of $25 an hour as presented. Do I have a motion to approve item 13.7? Thank you, Mrs. Edmeades.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Gordon.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Katachu,
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Item 15, any board concerns, comments, or items for the next agenda meeting? Anybody on the board? No? Okay. Next item is the public comment period number 2. It's an open public comment period. If you care to make a public comment, please do so now. And it will be limited to 3 minutes as our policy. And please, if you do, state your name and your address, please.
Hello, Brian Benfer, 132 Thistle Way, Danville, Pennsylvania. First, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone serving on the board. I appreciate your service. I'm here to emphasize my support for Mrs. Bartholomew. My daughter, Lauren, has participated in the cross-country track program. I feel she's definitely benefited from Mrs. Bartholomew as a role model. I say this as someone who's participated in sports my entire life, soccer, pole vaulting, Warrior Run graduate. I've played varsity sports all the way through. They've been a big part of my life. Coaches are a big part of my life, role model for me. It impacted my time at Penn State. And really,
my Army experience. I've over 7 years experience as a combat engineer platoon leader, Army captain, and I'm sure you can imagine I've been around a lot of coaching in that scenario as well. In my view, Mrs. Bartholomew embodies everything that I would personally look for in a coach for me, and I know she's been a role model for my daughter, and I just would ask the board to consider if she doesn't meet the standards to be a coach in this school district, based on my 24 years experience in civilian and military leadership, I'm not sure how many people do. And I guess I just want to voice my opinion. I don't know the specifics or the circumstances. That's, you know, not up to me. But I know from my Army experience with over 24 years civilian military leadership, I always trust my gut. I always trust my instincts. I believe in my eyes and ears and what I observe. I've been around Mrs. Bartholomew for over 7 years. And I just want to emphasize, I think she's the embodiment of what I want in a coach for my daughter as she continues to move through the Danville School District. And, you know, the nice thing about leadership is you can always reevaluate and reconsider your decisions. And I just simply ask that the board reevaluate and reconsider their decision. I want Mrs. Bartholomew to be able to coach my daughter and my younger daughter as they move through this school district. Thank you.
Mr. Benfer,
Thank you.
thank you for your service to our country. It's
Yeah,
greatly
thank you.
appreciated.
You got it, pal.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lonnie Ryer. I live at 209 Woodhill Road. I am deeply disturbed by how Tina's firing took place. I started a petition about 5 days ago. I'm just going to read it in some of the comments. And I said, bring back Bartholomew. I said, Tina Bartholomew is a beloved Danville teacher, mom, business owner, and coach, was terminated by the Danville board without notice, an investigation, or opportunity for public comment. We're demanding the immediate and retroactive return of Tina Bartholomew to her coaching positions at Danville. She is an accomplished athlete and a much-needed coach, mentor, positive role model, and advocate for girls in sports. The board's rushed actions have harmed the team, girls' sports, and the entire community. So some of the comments are, bring back Bartholomew. Tina was an influence on me personally at BU. I believe it is for the good of the team. I know Tina, and I know how much she loves coaching and helping athletes develop along the way. She is a great treasure to the Danville community. She is such a wonderful lady and mentor, and children need someone like her as a coach. My girls always tell me every time they see her how much they love her. She has made a positive impact on their lives. We need her in Danville. Tina has not only been a fixture in the Danville School District, but the running community for decades. She has donated countless hours to the girls' athletic programs, and now the results show, not only in the district, but the state level. Again, school administration has let down our district and our kids. Their constant lack of consistency and support of those who truly have all the kiddos' best interests in mind is so discouraging. We need more Tina Bartholomews in this world. I'm not quite sure why she was not given a professional improvement plan like coaches have been in the past. I also believe the athletics department does not function as an entity. Whatever her offense, I believe it reflects a lack of orientation and mentorship on the part of administration. What is more, the student evaluations are a poor replacement of the admin doing their job. My big question for the board is that, are they sure that they received the whole story before they took their vote? Or did they receive a biased view of what was actually going on? And I think that if there had been a full investigation, it would have probably taken more than 45 minutes of your time and would not have
You
had
have
to
30
happen,
seconds.
and would not have had to happen as an added agenda item after the board meeting started. Because I think a lot of people would have showed up and had an opinion if they were given the opportunity to voice it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else tonight? Okay. Before we adjourn, I'm going to ask the board to reconvene for an executive session immediately after the adjournment. We need to have a follow-up conversation on the prior session with our solicitor. With that said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I second.
Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed? No. Okay. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.